have already heard this speech. This is a repeat of one I'd done a few months ago. But for those who are hearing for the first time, I'll pull you right in. When I speak with millennials, a common comment that they have for when they're talking with me is they always like to harp on inequality. Oh, that's just a sign of inequality, or check your privilege. Check your privilege, that's inequality. I'm an old Gen Xer, this means nothing to me. It means absolutely nothing to me. So I started doing my due diligence and I started looking at the data. I started to actually examine what is making life so unequal for so many different people in the society. And I seem to think that I have the answer, even though people don't generally talk about this very much. Or I tend to think the biggest space for inequality in these United States is the destruction that is occurring to marriage and our marital rate in the USA. And nobody is talking about it. It's almost like nobody cares. It's almost like they don't feel like they have the right to talk about it. They don't want to put somebody off. They don't want to make somebody feel inadequate. They don't want to hurt their feelings. They don't want to hurt their pride. So we don't talk about it. So we don't talk about what's happening. We don't talk about this inequality. And unfortunately, if we're going to succeed as a society, we need to start talking about this, because marriage either adds value to society or it doesn't. And if it does add value to society, then let's figure out exactly what's going on and what's happening to it. First chart I'm going to show you is the historical trend for marriage in the United States. They didn't start tracking marriage until 1976. This is when they started looking at the numbers. Prior to this, they estimated that we roughly had 72%, give or take, of all people 18 and older were married in the United States. 72%. Well, that seems reasonable. Started looking at it. 1976, we're around 71%. By 1980, we dropped to 65%. By 1990, 60%. 2000, 57%. 2010, 51%. And then 2013 hit 49.9%. For the first time ever in the entire history of the United States, less than half of all people 18 and older were married. And it's still going down. We're at 48%. I've taken the liberty of drawing up projected status of where we'll be at. By 2030, I'll be 60 years old. We expect to be at 42% of all people in this country married. Now think about how dangerous that is for just a second. Think about what that would mean demographically for the United States if only 4 out of every 10 people over the age of 18 is married. Think about how frightening that is for our demographics. It's already that bad. Think about having a conversation with your 19-year-old daughter knowing that she has less than a 50% chance of ever being married. No grandchildren. Think about what you're going to say to your son. Marriage. What does he have to work hard for? Might as well stay in the basement. Surf porn. Do drugs. What difference does it make? Society doesn't value marriage. Why should I? That's where we're at. And I think that we really need to talk about it. We really need to figure out what's going on. Now, for a lot of people in this room, this doesn't really mean very much. I would say the majority of the people, maybe even all the people in this room, marriage is commonplace in your family. Everybody I know is married. Everybody in my neighborhood's married. But this company's married. My family's married. So, I mean, we got some divorces in there. A few people aren't married, but it's common. Where you're forgetting is that for pretty much everybody in this room, you are above average. Above average in many traits, and in some cases, well above average. The people who are above average in so many other traits, life traits, marriage rate hasn't diminished at all. Divorce isn't that bad. Things are going fine. So in your circle, in your family, in your connection, everything seems to be operating just the way it is, normal. But you go to other parts of the city, it's a marriage desert. Nobody's married. That's the cultural norm. Who is not getting married, and what happened? Well, let's look at when the ages of marriage started. 1960, the average age of a girl, her first wedding was 20. Up to 27 and a half now, almost 27 years old. 1960, it was 22 for a young man. Now we're almost up to 29. Something's going on. Something's happening. All the people who are doing fine in life, the educated, the hardworking, getting married, have as many marriages as they want, and their marriages generally last. Our divorce rate's gone down. But for other people, no marriage at all. Nothing. Books are being written about this. I read a book that said marriage is just for white people, written by a black sociologist at Stanford. Think about that. Somebody actually having the gall to write a book like that and knowing that that's accurate, that that's happening. What is going on? We need to figure out what's going on. And there are only two questions we need to ask ourselves. One, for the people who are not getting married, people on the margins, is this a problem? This declining marriage rate a serious problem? And if the answer to that question is yes, the question number two is, what are we going to do about it? And right now, in our society, there doesn't seem to be anything that anybody wants to do about it. Thank you very much for your time.
So now we'll take 1 minute for the judges to score Paul's speech.